Well, welcome back, ladies. I know there's some more that are going to be joining us as we go through today, but I also had a few people that weren't able to join because of the time of the day, and that's okay too. But it's beautiful to see you both. Hi, MC and Mary. You got all the M's with me. It's going to be a fun day today. I, first of all, want to thank you and honor you both for showing up for yourself this last couple of days because sometimes we make a commitment to ourselves, but we don't follow through. And both of you are following through, and I really honor that. And taking the time to really focus on you is important. And so, welcome back. And yesterday we uncovered a lot of different things. Was there anything that you had as an insight or an aha or a question about some of the information that we shared yesterday?
Um, I think a big one is when you start talking about my worth. Our
Mhm.
worth is not measured by how much we endure.
Yes.
Um, because sometimes I think um, we do endure quite a bit along the way in our journeys, and really try not to lose ourselves. And I know yesterday I was on a complete high where and Cindy Khan is really trying to push me into get into the Women of Joy conference.
Mhm.
Um, so I go up and down. Yesterday was a great day. I finished it with a walk with Nordic sticks and some friends. I didn't expect to
Oh, good.
be ending at a restaurant and having drinks and something to eat. I'm like, oh, I missed that memo. But um it was a nice surprise, because
Oh,
it was
good.
6:30 or whatever. But um
And a nice release for you to just be around some friends and be
oh
social.
yeah, and physical. I
Mhm.
need that.
Yeah.
So we walked almost 4 miles. So
Oh, good.
um, in about an hour. So it
Uh,
worked out really well. And I look forward to getting back to them. But it's more about, um, our self-worth. What are we
mhm.
worth? What do
Yeah.
the things we put into ourselves? I know it comes back triple fold, and
Yeah.
that's really important.
Yeah. It does.
And there are days where it's a lot harder to do that than others.
Yeah. But it is because oftentimes we get pulled into everybody else's drama, trauma, desires,
Mhm.
wishes, and we end up giving up on ourselves all of the things that we wanted to do, be, and have in that particular moment for that
Right.
person, right? And some of
Right.
that is in service, and some of that just feels like a tug, almost like a tug of war. Like, but I want to do this, but I'm being called to do that, right? So it can feel really difficult some days.
Right. And the things how to rephrase it. I think I mentioned we hired a financial coach so we could get our
Hmm.
things all in one place. And um, that's, that's not easy to do. And that's definitely, um, what I would say, I'm noticing some triggers with
Oh,
having
right.
done that at this point. And not, I've managed my own money for so long that
Mhm.
now that it's in one place, I'm like, okay, now how do I do that? How do I know how much um what's there to do for groceries, or what do I have to look at? Or
Okay.
so now that everything's in one place, um I was excited about doing that. Now it creates another learning curve, I guess you could
Mm.
call it. And more discussions and trying to have those hard conversations without reacting.
Yeah. Yeah, and money is definitely something that most people will react to, and in a relationship, it can be extremely volatile, right?
Mhm.
Because and when
It's
you
the
want
different
something for
ideas.
yourself, right, and
Mhm.
the other person sees that afterwards, and then they get upset because you went and spent some money from the group, right? Oh,
Yeah.
she's waiting to come in. Let me see if I can find her.
Okay.
Hold on. Oh, where is it that I can get her in? I must have opened up something that I'm trying to figure out how to find people now. Goodness gracious.
Um,
Because I'm not even seeing. Oh, wait, maybe in here?
yeah, it should generally in the bottom. So it would give you a notification that somebody's waiting. And I
I
think
think it's
that's what
because I'm
yours has done.
sharing the screen here off of
Oh,
presentations on Canva. So I think that's probably why.
oh,
Just
that could be.
scoot
Yeah, you
down
might
here
have
for a
to just,
second.
yeah. Yeah, you might have to do that.
And man, there's probably a bunch of people waiting. Oh dear, maybe I have to go
It's okay.
stop share
So,
for a second and see if I can find her in there. I don't have her in there. Let me tell her to go back in. Okay, try again. Sorry. A few minutes ago, she said 15 to 20 minutes, and now she's saying I'm waiting.
oh, okay. The computer sends that message.
Yeah, let's see if she's coming right now. Sorry about this. So, MC, what insights and ahas did you have after yesterday?
I went to bed feeling quite frustrated. So I click on the suggestion that Gail was talking about around language.
Mm,
Then it just led me down a path where I felt, I'm feeling like I'm constantly in the same place, asking myself the same questions. There isn't any movement, despite the work that I'm doing, despite myself getting out there and really just asking myself,
Yeah.
how do I need to be communicating? Is it a matter of really keeping at it to gain traction? Or there's just something I'm not doing right? Is it because I'm being impatient? What is it? Because I know I have heard this thing that I speak heart language and I need to be speaking more professional language and language that's in corporate. And so I'm not even aware that I speak heart language because I've just always spoken like this. And so I'm feeling quite frustrated or challenged to really just then speak professional language. I went onto Google before I went to bed and said, what is heart language? What is? And so there were different examples that they were bringing up to say, as opposed to say this, say that, and just feeling, oh, this is going to take forever because now it's almost like I'm having to learn all over again. And just really feeling frustrated, like I don't understand why it's just so hard. How do I? So I wrote here to say, okay, um, w- I said, get to clients that are aligned with the work that I do. How do I connect with those clients that are already at that space where they are aware, they are in the heart? So yeah, that's where I was yesterday, feeling like I'm constantly stuck. I don't remember feeling like this when I was doing the bespoke wear. So in the bespoke wear, it was almost like I am they're secret magicians. They always come out looking amazing without having to do the hard work because I did all that for them. And so it was almost like a privilege or an honor to say, hey, speak to her. So it was almost like in the background, there's this person who can make you look magnificent. And now this kind of referral almost needs, and it was referral based on trust. So if Sally can refer me to MC to make my suits because I trust Sally, then I know I'm in good hands. I didn't have to prove myself. So you're wearing a garment that looks amazing and you're referring me. I already trust you. So I guess most of the work was done for me. So I'm in a space where there's a lot of stigma. There's a lot of negativity. So even though they come and it's a trusted service that maybe they get at the end of the day, to have to refer because of the stigma, it's almost like doesn't quite happen. It's still, you need to be in a very triple trusted relationship in order to say, hey, speak to MC. So yeah, then I just ended up doing a lot of breath work and sleeping because I thought, I don't have the answers and I'm not in control of how people act or react. But it's just a hard place to be at the moment. But this is where I'm at.
Well, I think it's a hard place to be at, but it's also an opportunity to revisit and say, like Gail was saying, when we speak, when we're first meeting with them with that outer language, that's the corporate speak, right? But when we get in, we're able to shift it to what the real message needs to be so that it resonates with them and it starts to impact. So I get what you're saying from a frustration perspective, not wanting to have to reinvent everything you've already created, all of those things. I'm just going to share my screen again.
Yeah, so this getting in is what's taking forever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. And it can be a journey because we're also venturing into communications that we haven't gone through before. Okay, am I sharing my slides now?
Yep.
Okay, back to work. Because honestly, MC, in my journey, just moving from corporate over into being a coach, my first year I did great because I was connecting with people that I knew and they know, liked, and trust me. And I was able to charge what I wanted to charge and I got them great results. And then the second year stunk.
Yeah.
Was like quiet as a mouse. And it was like, what's going on? My first year was great. I had all these people. I was doing what I wanted to do. I loved what I was doing. And yet at the same time, it was frustrating because I wasn't getting the results that I wanted to get. And so then you start questioning yourself. Who am I? What am I doing? Why is it not connecting? Why am I not succeeding? Why is the money not flowing? What do I have to do differently? Maybe I should give up. Maybe I should try something different. All of these things overwhelm us in our minds. And Mary, have you been there too with those
Oh, yeah.
There we go. So it's very common, right? And, for me, look at the tech stuff. Like this should be easy. And I've done a million Zooms and shared my screen. But the last 2 days, it's like, it's just not going in
Yeah.
because I'm using a third party with my Canva and those kinds of things. And I want to be able to be there. So it's the little things that can take us off our game and frustrate us. But sometimes it's getting so granular and clear on exactly who you are and living in that confidence of who you are that makes the difference. Because
I'm also practicing to ask different questions, more affirmations rather than affirmations for, for business purposes. Why do I continue to connect with people who want to work with me? Why do I continue to find great builders and so MC in your direction, maybe asking those questions. Why is it that what I do is what everybody wants? Why are they coming to me for those? Because when we put those kinds of questions out into the universe, the answer comes. It's like, well, they're coming to you because you have what they need. They're coming to you because you have the technique and the expertise that people are looking for. They just don't know where to find you at this point.
And it really is also the energy is so important to be in that expectation of whatever you're wanting to come to fruition is coming to fruition because we need to hold that. And I'm going to go into a little bit of that today as well. But the other piece that I found is I had to get so granular on exactly the words that my potential clients were using and speaking themselves. And it took me a long time to get there because I was doing lots of stuff about midlife or this type of person, that type of person. I even went to coaching some men and I didn't enjoy coaching any men. And I've coached men my whole life, like multiple men, like in high executive positions. That's what I did. I was a coach for all different levels. But I didn't feel good coaching men anymore. I didn't want to. But I was feeling like, oh, I just had to grab that money from this person or that person because I needed income and I could help them. But I didn't enjoy the process with it. So I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I'm going to stop doing that. So it was, reinventing myself and becoming clearer and clearer and clearer on exactly what I wanted to do. Because throughout each year since I started my business, I reframed my whole business and rebranded each year. And this
Oh,
year it hit. This year it hit. And there was quite a few people that signed up for this particular session. But the reason they signed up, and most of them I have no idea who they are. I think I have about 40 people that signed up. Look who
wow.
actually shows up, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Because they can't all make it during the daytime. They might be on their corporate job. That's why I'm doing the recordings. But the message is landing with people I've never met before,
Wow.
speaking the words that they've spoke to me.
Yeah.
And so it's taken me these last 4 years to get to this point where I'm actually speaking the language that the people want to hear so that they can come into my circle. And whether they end up doing business with me or they follow me and follow me and follow me, eventually that message is going to give them something to come forward. And so that's part of us learning who we are, what we're doing, and then how to craft things the way that people want to hear and focusing on one problem. I mean, they always talk niche. Everybody talks about the niche, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Focused on the niche, and I'm focusing on the one thing that women struggle with in midlife. Okay. And there's lots of pieces to it, but we're all struggling with the same types of things. So as we go forward today, I'm just going to move to the next screen for a sec. One of the things we asked you to do yesterday was in your journaling, what truth am I ready to speak, even if just to myself? So were you both able to do that homework? And did you have any insights there?
I don't know that I journaled about it. I certainly thought about it throughout the evening and um was up early again this morning. And for me, I it comes down to financial. I thought my truth that I was ready to speak, even if it's to myself, was that okay, there's some things that are coming up that are exciting that I want to do. One is this women's conference in Tennessee. Um, that I've heard about 4 different times and haven't been able to go.
Mhm.
Um, but about 2 weeks ago, I also heard about a 6-day rafting trip that
Oh,
you have to have your down payment in by Friday, which is tomorrow by 11:49 p.m., 59 p.m. Um, and it's something that I just heard about, but it is a PR firm, a woman who is taking 12 women on, it's a retreat on the river.
oh,
And
cool.
one, I've always wanted to do a river trip.
Mhm.
Since I met this friend back in, well, it's been almost 10 years that we taught together. I've been wanting to do a, a week long, more than just a 4-hour river trip. I want to
Mhm.
go overnight. Um, and probably again, since I did a river trip with a canoe trip with my sister back in 2000. So that was 25 years ago. Um, it just hit me because most of it's on the river, but we're gonna be in nature. There's not gonna be any social media around. We'll have those, when you're off the river and at dinner, that's when we'll have the true conversation.
Mhm.
Um, and I mentioned to my husband yesterday, I said, no, I need to make a decision by Friday at 11:59 p.m. Well, since then, we've had my car looked at. He has to sell his. We'll be down to one car. And so what's more important right now, that $500 deposit so that I can do this thing in September, um, or do the conference in October? Um, or do we really need to hone in? Because he brought up to me before I left today, why did we get a financial coach if we're just going to jump into, okay, these are the things I want to do because I want to do them. So I've been thinking about that. What is the truth I need to reveal is to take a step back and get everything in order. And so when those things come up again, we're more prepared for it.
Mhm.
Um, and then trying to have those conversations together has been not to bring up, okay, well, these are the things that you've done, or these are the things that I've done. So the truth is that we're here right now. Let's look at where we're at right now and how can we plan on those things? Because we will need a vehicle. And if we don't keep up with what needs to be done on that vehicle, we won't have a vehicle at all. So,
Yeah. So it's weighing the possibilities and the potentiality of what is true in your heart. I can hear what's true in your heart, but now we're bringing the logic in.
right.
And sometimes logic doesn't feel as fun as what's true in our heart.
Correct.
Right?
Yep. And that's where I'm at right now. It's like, yeah,
but that's good that you're recognizing both of those things right now. And now it's a matter of either having conversations together or make a commitment together that this is really important for your mental health, your physical health. And is it worth that investment, or is it not worth that investment right now and waiting for the future? So as we're doing this journaling and you're seeking those truths, in our heart, we know what we really want. But oftentimes the logic can override. And sometimes the logic is not necessarily what's the best answer in certain situations. And you'll often find also in a relationship, one always comes from the logic and one comes from the passion. Right? And so it makes it difficult in relationships to be able to have that alignment. And also now, because the money's together, you don't have that freedom. And
right.
and you're working through right now, I would say.
Right. Yes. Yep. I have the freedom. And I'm also the kind of person that comes from an abundance mindset
Mhm.
that and that's how I taught my children, because those are things you want to do in the future. You decide to do it now, and because you're planning for it, that what you need will show up. It'll come, whether it's more business or whatever you need. You know, you need to pay for the car, we'll have the money to do that.
Yeah.
But to get frantic and just hold tight to, well, this is what we have today, we can't make those decisions in the future.
Yeah.
Is a limiting
That's
belief.
it's the frequency, right? The frequency of knowing that you have abundance and that you can afford to do something when the money's not there right now doesn't mean that it's not going to be there by the time that comes around.
Right.
And that's understanding the frequencies of the universe and the abundance frequency, like you're talking about, which is awesome.
Yeah. So I have that and he doesn't. So that's my truth. How do I work through that? We'll figure it out.
We'll give you some more. We'll give you some more tips and tricks today.
Okay,
For sure.
good.
Aaron, MC, did you have a chance to do any of the journaling? I know you've been busy since, because you've been at an event and everything since we last met.
Yeah, I think one of the things that has been coming out for me is so this space, even though I have gone through a lot of transformation from when this journey started to where I'm at right now, there was a lot of shame and really wanted to stay in the background a lot. And what has then come to me with the writing that I'm doing, with the podcast, with just how I'm being, is I have become comfortable to be seen and be heard within this space. And that's taken a while to get here. And just silently saying, I really am good at what I do. I haven't shouted it out, but I can feel it in my bones and how when somebody's talking, I know before I'd want to jump in and come with solutions and answers, but really now holding and being grounded and just feeling, I don't necessarily have to say anything. I just have to just hold you in where you're at. So I'll give an example where a friend of mine was talking about some of the challenges that she was having in her marriage. And my old instinctual self would just be jumping in with solutions and saying this and that. And I did find holding back, which was very new, and me realizing that, oh, you've grown, holding back and just allowing her to talk. And instead of coming up with solutions, I said, how best can I support you? So it's that transition where things feel softer and gentler when the opportunity, I don't even know if I can call it an opportunity, or when circumstances arise where I would then want to talk. And I realized then it was about showing you that, I've got this, I can do this. And now really about just allowing people to just process and talk about whatever it is that they're going. So it is a very new space for me. And really, I really always congratulate myself when I realize that I'm stepping back and listening. And I have found that to be really amazing. And yeah.
So very good. Because people don't want to be fixed.
Yeah.
Because they're not broken. Right.
No.
And we've become such a culture of trying to fix everybody else's problems or circumstances, as opposed to asking them questions to really find out what is going on and then supporting them with that, like you're saying. So that's great. That's a really good area of opportunity for growth that you've discovered. And it felt good.
And I think I could probably say the same thing just because of what Jay said this morning as I was leaving. Is we've, the expenses for the car are going to be more than what we thought they were going to be. Granted, we don't have to take it to the dealership. We go somewhere else for about half, but it's still more than what we really want to put into a car right now. And listening, because I walked away and I got the text from Cindy and it's like, I'm listening. And I was like, okay, just by doing that, that's when you're giving grace to the other person. I'm also able to say, okay, you know what, I hear fear in your voice. I hear concern, that what next. So maybe, and I forgot to say that to him because I had to leave in a hurry. There's some things that we can come back and talk about. So I think it would help.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the whole piece, is honoring the other person, but also honoring yourself and the truth of how you're feeling about everything, but without judgment toward them. Right. We also had a big opportunity when we came back from a trip to Playa del Carmen in March, and we got back and our car had broken down while it was in the parking
garage
that we had. And we couldn't get it started that night. Kevin thought it was just the fob not working with, the battery in it. So he's running around in the dark at night trying to find a little corner store where he could get one. Thought he had fixed it, but it didn't work when it came back to the car. And I'm standing there the whole time outside with the luggage in the cold. And I said, you know what? There's a hotel right there. We're not going to get that service tonight. It was after 9:00 at night. The other places are not open. Let's just go for the night. We've been traveling all day. Stay in the hotel. And in the morning, we can regroup. But we did. And it was nice. We got to go for dinner and all those kinds of things. And in the morning, when we went back to the car, there was somebody from the park and fly that was there, came over to check on us, see if we needed a boost. Well, it ends up at the end of the day that our car needed $5,000 of repairs. We had to have it towed to the dealership and off we went, right? And I'm like, well, there's a reason that this probably happened. Maybe that we were in an accident otherwise. Maybe there was something along the path. But if it needs to be done, it needs to be done because it was an alternator or something. So we got it done. But yet the fun part of it, because I've learned how to manage my energy that way, is the circumstance is just a circumstance. So there's always a solution. And sometimes the solution isn't exactly what you want it to be, but you have to deal with it anyways. So
Right.
we did. And we go to the dealership, we drop off the vehicle, we get us a loaner, and the loaner was a Jaguar. Right?
Oh,
And I
how
really
nice.
wanted to drive a Jaguar. So we had a Jaguar for 3 days, which was really fun. So, what sometimes when we have circumstance show up, but we align with the energy of there's a reason why, and we don't know what it is, but maybe our car would have broken down right on this freeway and we would have been hit or who knows what.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
just
that's
don't
true.
know. So when we
Yep.
align with the right energy, little gifts pop in for us to let us know. And it's serendipitous. So that's another example, Mary, of, he was really frustrated about what it was going to cost to do all these things. And I'm like, oh, we've just got to go with the flow. I know we just paid for an expensive vacation. Now we're not even home yet. We've had to pay all this extra money, but it is what it is. Right. And so we have to let it go and just move forward with it. And that is also being in tune with yourself and with the universal energy to know
Yeah.
that there's a reason for everything that happens in our lives. And it opens up, like they say, that this future self to rewrite the next chapter. And so it's very easy for me to do that, but it's not as easy for my spouse to be in that flow. But I can eventually get him there. Right. And it's part of his learning as well. I mean, it took me a while to learn this. And so it's going to be a while for him to learn it. But at the same time, no judgment. It was just, it's got to be done. It's got to be done. It's how we
Right.
do it, right? So as we go forward, think about the things that we're talking about now, because it definitely is an opportunity for us to rewrite our next chapter. And MC writes lots of books, and she's an amazing writer. If you ever need to read anything good, Mary, you need to get to MC.
Okay.
She's very, very talented in her writing. And yeah, well, she can even send you some articles that she wrote for some magazines that we both wrote in, but hers are like brilliant.
Excellent.
So I'm going to talk about our 3-step strategy in midlife to really get us back on track and get us into where we want to be. So the first thing is what we've been talking about a bit this morning, which is rediscovering you. Who are you really? And I think I know most of us go through life just on the treadmill. And we very, very rarely take time to be introspective. Now, MC, she's really good because she went away and did a real introspective thing that I don't think I could ever do. But really reconnecting to your truth that's deep beneath the roles, the rules, and the routines, and getting back in tune with who you truly are as a human being, as a person, as a mother, as a grandmother, as a wife, a daughter. All of those things are the titles that we carry, but it's reconnecting with who we are beneath all of that. Okay, who are we as a human being beneath all of that? The second thing is our soulful strategy. That's when we're really in alignment with our goals, our dreams, our purpose. That's a hard thing for people to understand, is what their purpose is. And as you go through life, your purpose is going to change. But what I have found is that deep down, we all know what our real lot in life is, what we really want to do deep down inside. Whether we want to be an explorer, whether we want to be someone that's an educator, whether we want to really help the world in a way that's so impactful. And when we have our soulful strategy, aligning with everything on who we are, it allows us to feel good again. And so I know when I was in my corporate role, the one that I told you about that I was leaving, and I remember walking down the hall one day, and I had the beautiful tailored dress on, the high heels, the nails, the makeup, the hair, all of that going on, because that's just how I was in corporate. But I was walking down the hall one day at the office, and I said to myself, I must have been a man in a previous life.
Yeah.
I actually said that to myself. And why was that? because I was carrying so much masculine energy in the workplace because I'd been trained on that for 20, 30 years. And I'd led large teams of men and women. And I had stepped so much into that masculine energy in my career. I dressed like a woman, but I was acting more in my masculine energy. And that was a real eye opener for me, thinking that I must have been a male in my previous life
Yeah.
because I was carrying so much of that inside of me in my soul. And when I recognized that, it was a wake up call for me to get back into my feminine power, right? To get away from all of those shoulds, do's, have, push, 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 drive, 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 which we get sucked into in the corporate world. But it was one of the most powerful moments of my life because I then recognized I needed to figure out what was the difference between me being this masculine energy and a feminine energy. And that feminine energy, as it says here, it's not a force, it's alignment. It's true alignment. Does it mean that I have to go and wear girly clothes or that I have to go and do ballet, all those types of things? No, it means I get to be who I choose to be as a with my feminine energy. And Mary, I'm like you. I'm outdoors all the time. My husband loves to hike and do everything else. So I'm alongside him doing those things. And we've been doing that for 30 years. So it's still a part of who I am, but I can bring my feminine energy, the relationship, my feminine energy to the activities, my feminine energy to my business, because I don't have to hide behind that corporate anymore, that corporate masculine energy. Has anybody else felt that masculine energy in their life before when they've either through work or just through how you're showing up?
I think for me, it is a legacy of the school system because it's the mind that is harnessed. You have to think, you have to be logical, you have to understand. Heart is not, well, at least maybe with the Waldorf schooling system where they bring in all the senses. I don't know of other education systems. I'm aware of Waldorf, where
Yes, I'm aware of Waldorf. Yeah.
yeah, so it's always the mind. So I think from a very young age, the masculine energy is what is upheld. And only when we are in this kind of space where we've gone through many changes, where we become more conscious of ourselves, do we then think of, oh, the feminine energy, leaning more into the heart. But I think for the majority of our lifetime and the majority of how we've been, it's always masculine, masculine. And I don't even know if people are aware of that. I think it's just, this is a way of life. We have to be logical, think of how to make decisions, cut out the emotions. I mean, you hear people saying when you come to work, you leave your problems at home. You don't have to be emotional. Don't be this. So it's just masculine energy all the way. And that's from kindergarten. And that's just, I don't know, that's like almost like it's in our DNA. We don't know how to be different because even when you show emotions are frowned upon. You're being weak. That's drilled into you from a very early age. And you're lucky if maybe you have a parent or a community or a support structure that actually embraces your feelings and your emotions. Then you lean more into your feminine energy. So this morning, I was telling you how the car wouldn't start. And I just found out those horrible things about my friend. When I got into the Uber and now needed to get to the location, I said to this guy, I'm so sorry I'm running late. I said, oh, should have seen me. I was a mess this morning. I was crying. And this guy's like, what's wrong with you? Are you a crazy woman crying? God won't even listen to your prayers if you're crying. You should stop crying. Don't cry. Just suck it up and deal with whatever situation that is in front of you. And I said, but tears are what washes the soul. And that's how you refocus. Well, at least for me. And you were saying rubbish. And I said to him, do you not cry? He said, no, I would never do that. That's just a waste of time. So, and I think that's a majority of people.
Was that a man saying that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, was it
Actually,
Midlife? But I
I
mean, the
have to
women,
say, I grew up in masculinity. I had 6 brothers.
Yeah.
So, it didn't occur to me till just now. My I had 2 brothers just below me, younger than me, and 2 older than me. Um, the school system, taught in that school system, and that's why a private preschool really worked for me because it was run by women. We allowed those emotions. We took time to talk to each other. We took time in the morning or midday and at the end of the day to talk with each other as teachers, um, and allow for those emotions. And I think that's it. It didn't occur to me to right now why that was such a good fit. And I miss that environment so much. Not being with, I watch them, I see what they're doing at this little preschool, and I'm like, you guys have got the best environment for children up to age 5, um, that I was able to be a part of for almost 10 years. And then rolling into public school service again, um, it's conformity. You've got to teach this way or you're not good enough. You're going to get put on a better teaching plan that wasn't have anything to do with what I was doing. But that was definitely from, even though our administrator was female, she definitely came down the roles from a masculine view. And I'm living that now in my own household because there isn't a, a man around that can do all the other things. And so um, I'm in that role, just trying to find some strong boys to come and help me get some things done in the yard because it's so much harder than it was 10 years ago to even have the desire to climb up on a ladder. But
Exactly.
so like I've got to, so I try and find those masculine males, like, "Hey, you're strong boys. They're all my age really, but still, can you come and help? If we just for 2 hours, I'll feed you, but definitely, yeah, we live it. I thought about it that way.
Yeah, and there was a big realization when I was studying under Bob Proctor, who's a master in
Yeah.
mindset. And uh, one of the things he said was early in our school years, MC could be looking out the window, fantasizing, imagining something. MC,
So,
pay attention.
yep.
Stop daydreaming.
Yep.
Yeah, right? Daydreaming is where everything comes to life. That's where our imagination goes. That's where our desires come from. That's where our growth comes from. But we were taught right from the very beginning to not do that anymore. It was a bad thing. Focus on what
Yeah.
the teacher says and then just repeat what the teacher says in the schoolwork is what's going to
yeah,
get you to that success.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of misunderstanding out in the world today, in my opinion. And I think that we're definitely on a trajectory to get back more in tune with the energy that we have and the frequencies that we have. And so when I'm going to talk about the aligned next step, it's going to take some courageous action from us, right? To be able to stay in our lane. Like MC, as you're talking about your business, staying in that soul alignment with your business so that you're not being pulled by other people to say, do it this way, do it that way. Stay in that alignment because you know what's best for you. And isn't about becoming somebody new, but remembering who you, like it says here, you're remembering who you've always been. But now we get to go back to it. We need to go back to her and who she's always been. Because deep down inside, we have that confidence. We have that ability to grow. We have our feminine leadership. And we've been trained, as you were saying, MC and Mary, we've been trained to go the opposite direction as women. So, step one into rediscovering you. We talked about reconnecting your truth with your truth. And that's not hard for a lot of people. And it's very hard for a lot of people because we've been told what our truth is. We've been conditioned to what our truth needs to be. And when I'm thinking about that from myself, as I'm going through my career, was, what was I needing to be? Who did I need to show up as to be successful in that role? What did I need to do? Who did I need to connect with? And what did I need to do to be successful in that? And was it real for me? I adjusted to it and I did extremely well in business. But at the same time, was it really my truth? I don't think I really stepped back to my truth till about 5 years ago. In understanding what I wanted and who I am and what I was willing to accept and what I was willing to reject in my life now. And that power, that presence, and taking the time to do that honest self-inquiry is huge for us, because this is how we're going to get back to who we truly are in our essence. Right? The true essence of each of you that are listening today is only going to be shown by when we truly are honest with ourselves and stand up for ourselves in a way that's impactful but not disruptive. It doesn't have to be disruptive to anybody. And there's been so much that's come forward in the last, I'd say, 5 years or more about really designing yourself to become the new you. Like, who are you and who would you like to be? Because if we have a vision of ourselves, MC, speaking to governments, speaking to lots of executives, making change in the workplace, but we don't see ourselves as that person already in those shoes, that person that's already leading those teams and they're seeking you. Unless we are in line with that energetically and in our own mind that we can see ourselves as that true leader, we haven't become that person before that person arrives. We need to become that person first in our mind, in our body, in our soul, before it's going to show up for us. So it's becoming something new to you, but living as that person today. And that's really returning to who you truly are and who you truly deserve to be, because we've all been put on this earth to create amazing, amazing things in our lives. And it's when we put our thoughts into it or other people put their opinions into us that brings us down. So it's about that discovering and going through that process. And I love this line: inside you is a version of you that already knows the way. We all know the way of where we truly want to be, but we question it or we let other people's opinions take us off to where we truly want to be and what that way is. But now we get to uncover her. Does that resonate?
Yes.
No, definitely. I mean, in the question where you asked, how would you rewrite this chapter? So I realized that me feeling frustrated and feeling stuck is really just part of the resistance. What is happening and where I'm at is where I'm supposed to be, because there are many lessons that I am getting in this moment. And by allowing myself to be frustrated and all, is just really missing the lessons. But I also realize that being frustrated really comes from that masculine energy where you always have to know, you always have to bring a solution to move forward, because it is so uncomfortable to be in this state of remembering where you're stewing and boiling for you to then become who you've always been. So I know it's part of the resistance in me that still needs to frizzle out, that's slowly frizzling out. But a big part of it is that masculine energy of, I need to think, I need to know, I need to figure out, because it's uncomfortable being in this state. So I wouldn't rewrite anything, because what's happening is what's meant to happen. Even when it's difficult, which it is, I
And
just have to.
uncomfortable if it feels like you just want to take that coat and throw it away.
Yes, that's really uncomfortable.
I don't need that person anymore. I've got something way better inside. And you just want to shed that type of thing. So it's
Yeah,
not that you're saying that, because that really is part of it, is we need to go through the trials and the tribulations. We don't necessarily have to bring that masculine energy, because there's another way. We'll get into that in a second. But it is really getting back in tune with who you always knew you should be.
and
Because deep down, I think we all know from an early age what we should be, do, and have, but we're just in that growth to really get in tune with this stage that we've gotten to, where we can grow even further into something that's bigger and bolder and more beautiful than we probably ever imagined when we were a little girl.
Yeah. It's hard because it's always, like I said, the mind is what's been nurtured. So because a lot of the time, even though I will move into the heart, it starts in the mind. It's when I realize that this is too intellectual, I just need to let it go when I get into the breathing techniques. But it's not a natural response. I have to remind myself.
Yeah.
I have to be in a constant state of awareness to be able to shift that.
Yeah.
They don't teach you that at school.
No, they don't teach that at all. They teach you just to follow the system, right? And then the second step that we have is the soulful strategy. So this is one that you're both going to enjoy. I know that for sure. And that's when your energy is your greatest asset. So MC, I'm just going to ask you a question. When you were on your journey, when you restrictive everything, you were gone for what, 4 or 6 months?
6 months.
6 months. What was your greatest asset then back then? Was it your energy?
Yeah, I mean, the first word that popped into my mind was silence. Just being. There was like a totally different environment, different mindset, different everything. And I just had to be silent and be, and not come with the intellect, with the knowing. Through silence, I learned, I grew, I moved. Humility, love, joy, ease is what lived inside of me. And those are things that I needed to make it through that very tough space that I was in. So silence was my greatest asset.
You want to tell Mary just a little bit about that journey that you were on and what you were doing? Because I think Mary would be just like gobsmacked by that.
I think I just have a hint. It sounds like something I would love to do, but I would love to hear more about it.
I don't think and nobody in their right mind would ever go there. Nobody in the right mind would go there. So that was part of the process. So as a healer, it's your ancestors that have paved the way, and you get shown the different places and steps you have to go through in order to then become this, I guess, wise, initiated healer who's going to be dealing with so many different people. And being in the wilderness where you don't have the luxury of escape, a cell phone, talking to the next person, walking barefoot, cooking in the ancient ways, and those were hard, in the ancient ways that our forefathers used to cook, and having very little to put on. When allowed clothes, you just had to wear a blanket, and that was it. There was nothing underneath that blanket, and it was the height of winter. I remember one time we had to go and collect water, and it had snowed, so you're walking barefoot on the snow. And one of the things that I found amazing was, despite that, being rained on. So even the thatched hut that we lived in was very porous. So it's raining, you get rained on, but nobody got sick. And only when I came back and started researching on this barefoot did I come across the term grounding, and just seeing the amazing effects and benefits of grounding. So now, one of the things, when I left, I had to have a root canal. But the date that it was set was when I needed to be in the wilderness. And so they gave me meds, which I didn't take. But when I came back for the date for the root canal, the dentist was shocked to say, it's healed. I don't have to do the root canal. And that really was just from walking barefoot. So it was a tough experience, but also so many benefits. Nobody, even in those tough spaces, ever got sick.
That's crazy.
How long were you in the wilderness?
6 months.
6 months. Wow.
With nothing.
I think it would be hard to come back and acclimate. You'd want to go back to the wilderness.
it took me 5 months to be realigned again because of the traffic and what. So
Just
I,
everything.
so I had a healer help me. So what she did was she prepared some concoctions of herbs for me to drink. And they helped to clear me on a mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual level. So that
Wow.
took me 5 months. And only after 5 months did I then bounce back again. So June 2024 was when I started getting back into the swing of things. But those first 5 months, I couldn't do anything.
Yeah. I can imagine. Wow.
So talk about an adventure.
Mhm.
So MC, I was, we'd met before that. So I knew that she was doing this, but it was like, can you imagine what you would go through to really get in tune with who you are?
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Spirit,
I'd want to come back.
Yeah, I mean, it's an experience that most of us will never have that opportunity to go that.
Think I'd rather do that than get a root canal.
There you go. Take your shoes off and walk around it.
I'm going to because they're telling me I need one. I'm like, I am not getting a root canal. I'm not.
Well, there we go. You know how to do it now.
Yeah.
So, energy is our greatest asset. Like it says here, your goals don't need to be bigger. They need to be truer to what you're really looking for. It's not about making a big, massive goal. I want to make $1 million. What's true for you? What's going to make you have that balance in your life, that fun, that joy, everything else? And then that soulful intention will meet that action, right? The soulful intention meets that action. And it's about creating those systems that really honor your energy and the stage of life. Because we've all been through different stages in our life, from childhood to adulthood to, middle age to beyond. And each stage brings new enlightenment. It brings a new goal. It brings a new desire. It brings new circumstances. Some we can control, some we can't. And so as we're working through this soulful strategy in the second stage of what I teach, we help you really to get in an alignment with where your vision is and where your values are so that you can really become magnetic with your energy. And then obviously that can help you in succeeding whatever it is that you want to succeed in, whether it's relationships, whether it's in your sports like Mary likes to do, whether it's in travel, whatever it is that you desire can become magnetic just because of your energy. And it becomes your new form of productivity instead of that hustle culture that we've all been told about. And the next thing is aligning with what really lights you up. So, Mary, when we were talking last fall, I guess it must have, one time we were talking in the fall. I don't know what date it was exactly, but you were so excited for ski season to show up. And that lit you up, right? That lights up. And oftentimes we don't see beyond our activities that we're doing that we could create something from that. And so what really lights us up is what's going to allow us to have those bigger shifts. So whether it's something like Mary's activities that she wants to do, she's like, oh, I'd love to do what you did, MC. I just want to be out in wilderness and nobody else. And I just can be on my own and do the things that I need to do and learn from it. And I know Mary would love that because she's willing to do what other people are not willing to do. But that internal soul, her desire is deep inside of her, right? Whereas other people would say, are you crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get lots.
Oftentimes we listen to those people that call us crazy.
Yes.
And
Too often.
it is, right? I mean, my husband and I have been on the road for at least over a year now, where we're just going from place to place together now. And people just look at me like, why would you do that? We're not in a house that we own. We're renting. We're doing Airbnbs, this kind of stuff. But it's been the best experience for us because honestly, it's so freeing when you don't own a bunch of stuff. We have our stuff stored somewhere else across the country, thousands and thousands of miles away. But we don't travel with anything other than a few suitcases, some computers, and some clothes. And it's freeing to be able to just let go of all that responsibility and just show up where we need to show up. I get to work from home, which is what I created so that I could be with him on the road. And it's created a lifestyle for us that's so different than most people my age because they're settled down, they've got their house, they're maybe retired, they may be still working, they've got their grandkids, they've got everything else going on, which is great. We've been there too, but we've decided to shift. And people still ask me, have you bought a house yet? Where are you guys now? Right? Well, it's just been a year that we've been doing this, but it's a year where we get to be together as a couple, which is more important to us than anything. And he gets to be doing the jobs that he wants to do and get paid the value that he's worth for doing. So why would I sacrifice me living in one place and him being on his own to do that when we have the option to do this? And it lights us up because every place we go to brings us new adventures, new opportunities. The last place that we stayed in when we were in Montreal had an indoor swimming pool in it, and we were the ones that got to use it, nobody else. And we backed
Wow.
up the river with a beautiful big backyard, and nobody else was using it. Right? So things show up for you when you're ready to step into your new opportunities that are going to light you up. And those magical things start to happen because your energy is on fire. Right? And that realignment we've talked a lot about is remembering what makes you feel good, what makes you feel true, what makes you have joy and fun. And letting joy be that compass. Cindy and I are around a lot of people that talk about joy, and it really does make a difference. It makes you feel alive. So those are the 3 things that I work with people on. And so I'm going to talk to you about a few other things. When we're talking about limitless and why I chose the word limitless for midlife was because I truly believe at this stage, we've done all the things we were supposed to do. We've got our feet dirty. We've experienced all sorts of things. We've had a lot of growth. We may or may not have been married once or twice. We may have had kids once or twice. We may have shifted across countries, whatever it might be. But what's possible when we say limitless? To me, limitless means I can do anything and achieve anything and be anything and go anywhere I ever wanted to go because I'm limitless now. So imagine living with those clear boundaries for yourself where there were no limits. That we didn't have to filter everything to help keep others feel comfortable. We've all done that, right? And that energy, that excitement, that desire, that imagination goes wild again on what we can achieve. And marry those clouds and the things that look like little things come have rays of sunshine behind you.
That's right. I think that's
Looks so
what it is.
nice.
I said to get, I was under, I was in the shade and it was getting cold.
Yeah.
Pushed my chair into the sunshine.
It's like you got the little angel
It
hand
does, doesn't it?
And
I might.
it's really a result of that clarity, your commitment, and then some consistency and believing in yourself and being true to who you are. And we talked a little bit yesterday about why most women stay stuck, but it's not laziness. It's because we've been taught the guilt. What will they think if I put myself first? Right? The fear, what if I try and I fail? Because we've been told that failure is bad. And Mary, as a skier, have you fallen before?
Oh, sure. This is a little embarrassing.
Why is that okay? But it's not okay to fail in something else. Because when we fail, when we have a fall, like falling while we're skiing, do we not get back up and go down again? Or do we say, that's it, I'm done skiing, I'm never going to ski again?
Yeah. Well, no, I get back out there. There are some falls I've had that make me get off the mountain that day, but I'm back up a few weeks later.
Yeah. But a lot of people won't, right? A lot of people let that.
Oh yeah, I've talked to you. It's like, oh no, why are we doing that again?
Yeah.
And that guilt piece right there is, not so much about what they think when I put myself first, because I wouldn't be here if I didn't do that most of the time. Um, just because in the last 10 years, it's been a lot of caregiving, more so in the last 6 months. And that has really scared me. I think the first 3 months of this year, the guilt and fear came from what needs to change in order for me to um, continue this level of care for him. And because of Parkinson's, you can hold it off. It's such a slow process of dying. It's just so slow. It's heart wrenching at times for both of us. And I think it was really hard to find somebody to connect him with for therapy, for mental therapy particularly, and because he hasn't in all the years he's had Parkinson's, and that's since 2006. And I can tell that there's a lot of fear. That we had the conversation before this started. He's like, it sounds like you're disappointed. You're disappointed with, and I said, I'm disappointed that we're now at 45 years of marriage, deciding to, so I put something here, and just now, looking at what we need the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, when I really want to do this forever. So that's
right. So lots of fear on his part because he knows that he's not able to do the things that he wanted to do before, but a lot of fear on your part as well. On how am I going to manage through this? And how am I still going to have my life while I'm managing through this? And it is very fearful. And a lot of us come to this stage in life, or at any stage actually, because you just never know what's going to happen with somebody. Right. So it can be really a lot of fear out there. And then there's a perfectionist.
No. Can I say something about my fear?
You sure can.
So, because when I do talk about or share my work or pitch, more often than not, I hear people say, "Oh, you're ahead of the curve. We're not there yet," and that scares me. And I still haven't gotten to understand what. Maybe I feel scared because then I feel up. Then I will I get the chance to share this knowledge, to do this work and do the transformation that I feel is needed. And that fear, it almost, what's the word? It almost, like my energy just leaves me. What's the word I'm looking for?
It paralyzes you.
How it makes me feel powerless.
Powerless, yeah.
Yes. And that feels scary. And yeah, I just wish I could connect more with people, be like, wow, this is amazing. I mean, the bunch that I met today did say that. That's how they even ended up saying they want to invite me to host some podcasts for them once they finish the renovation. So I guess there's been a lot of shift and movement within me. But yeah, for a while it's been, oh, you're ahead of the curve. And it's that powerlessness that overcomes me.
So when people are saying you're ahead of the curve, it means you get to be the groundbreaker. You get to be the trailblazer, creating that new mindset, that new drive toward what is really required. And it's not a bad thing; it's a good thing. But remember that other people are slow to change.
But then it almost feels like there aren't spaces then to pioneer. Okay, yes, I'm hosting the podcast. So maybe it's also about patience for me, because then I'm having those conversations. So yeah, maybe it's patience that is my challenge.
Because you're a high performer.
Patience is hard.
You're a high performer.
Very hard.
When you're a high performer, to not have results like this,
Like that. Yep.
that masculine energy again.
Yeah,
You
they're
tap
like,
back into
shoot.
your feminine energy and you allow, then you're not pushing.
Yeah.
Right. And then you're going to invite in. So when you're thinking about that, think about your energy when you feel like that, because that feminine energy is going to allow and then it's going to flow. But when we're in that masculine energy of that push and I've got to get this done and why are they not accepting me and so on and so forth, those are our old
Yeah.
behaviors that we need to interrupt. And that's why we're
Yeah.
stuck, right?
Yeah.
And of course, that people pleasing, we're pretty good at that as women. So from disconnected to limitless, this is what I'm going to be working with women on as we're going forward. And it's going to cover all of those three areas that we just talked about, from rediscovering you, that soulful strategy, and that aligned next step. So I am really excited because this is my initial launch of this new program that I've just created. And it's called the Limitless Path. And it's a 6-week journey back to you. It's going to be a group coaching program. It's really transformational for midlife women. When you're ready to stop settling and start living in alignment with who you truly are. And so all of the things we've been talking about the last 2 days have all been around this because we've been everything to everybody. I mean, I can do pretty well everything as far as renovations and houses with my husband, with the exception of the electrical and the plumbing. But I do know the parts that are needed for it, so I can go shopping for those. But it's, I've been the career woman, I've been the mom, I've been the caregiver, I've been the glue for the family, I've been the organizer, I've done all that stuff, and I know that you have too. But now it's your turn. It's your turn to really be able to get onto that limitless path, to get to where you truly desire to be and who you were made to be in this world, who you were made to be. So it's going to be over the next 6 weeks. It's going to start on the 22nd. It's going to be group coaching sessions, and we're going to have some reflection guides, some different tools to integrate through it. It's going to be a private community. There's only going to be a certain number of people in there, and it's going to be like-hearted and like-minded women that are ready for this shift. And each week, I'm going to do a bonus in there where I do a live weekly hot seat coaching. Do you know what a hot seat is?
I've been on a hot seat before.
I'm sure you have, Mary. But we're going to do a hot seat coaching where someone's going to come forward with whatever their situation is, where we can actually walk them through a process on how to break through that barrier. And then there's also going to be a couple of other things included. I'll go into that in a second. And then there's also a VIP upgrade option, which allows you to just have a one-on-one with me for an hour, just so I can completely focus with exactly what you're looking for, if that's what you're looking for. So here's what's included. 6 weeks, transformational modules, 1 for each week. We're going to do the live group coaching. I'm going to have another journal. Hope you're working with the one that you have between now and then, because you've got a full 7 days to work on that one. So you'll have your own journal and workbook that you can keep and revisit and reignite some of the questions that there might be or the insights that you're looking for. It's going to be completely private. It's not going to be a bunch of people popping in. They have to have come into the course to be in there. But I want us to build a community around women just like us, because we are such strong women from the generations that we've been brought up in. I believe we're strong women, but we need to be surrounded by other women just like us,
Yes.
that are going through the same things, that are experiencing things like each of us are, so that we can all be in alignment and support each other as well, and not feel like we need to be that influencer on Instagram to have success, but rather feeling like we're around a community where we're all moving in the same direction and we can support each other, not criticize or tell people that they're not ready for what's coming their way. We want to be around that positive community. It's going to be, there'll be a Limitless Journal Companion, which is similar to what we have for this thing, but for this masterclass. But I want to continue with that journal, and I want to make it so that it can actually be a hard copy I can send to you. So you have a nice one that you can keep your journal for the year, which would be awesome. So I'm working on that. And then just that supportive community and a private, safe space for us to have conversations that we can't have with anybody else. So as an example, maybe Mary, because of the situation with your husband, it's hard to have conversations with others that aren't living in your shoes when you're dealing with what's going on with your spouse's health. Because it's tough. People don't get it. They think that they do, but they really don't understand the depth of it. And in our group, I'm sure there'll be people that are like that, and other support people, like a few of the people we had on yesterday that really understand the health care as well and can help along those type of things. You'll also have access as bonuses to my Limitless and Midlife podcast, which is one that I've created this year, and it's going really, really well. And it's just dealing with things that are happening for us every single week. I put one out, but things that are happening for us and understanding that we're not broken. We're not needing to recreate ourselves. We just need to get more in alignment with who we are. You'll get a free No More Excuses midlife audit. So that one is one of my favorites because it allows me to really look at 10 different areas of your life with you, and you get to rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. And on that scale of 1 to 10, you're going to tell me where you are, with 10 being absolutely amazing when it comes to, say, relationships, and maybe on something else, it's a 3. But you get to tell me a little bit about why those are rated that way and what it would feel like to be a 10 instead of a 3 in a certain category. But I go through 10 different elements so you can get real clarity on where those most important opportunities are for you in your life today. And then that VIP option was to have that one-on-one coaching with me if you wanted to invest in that. And so it begins a week today. I can't believe it. This is so exciting for me. And I'm offering it at a really affordable price right now at $497 because I want us to give it an opportunity for women from all areas to be able to come and join and build our community quickly. That's $100 off what the regular price would be. The regular price is $597, and as of May 21st at 9 p.m., it will be changing to $597. So if you're interested in getting in, let me know as soon as possible. The QR code is one that you can just scan from your phone so that you have that if you're wanting to join me on this. And with that, you can also VIP to get another 60-minute private session if you choose. So the enrollment is open as of right now. You guys are the first ones to hear about it.
That's exciting.
And this has been something that I've been working on for a long time because I really wanted to fine tune exactly what I thought that women were needing. And it will probably evolve over time, but it's definitely something that I am really passionate about because I just want to be able to be there for women in our stage of life that are looking for this shift. And we can mentor each other, we can support each other, and I know that we will in all of those different regards. So this is why it works, and we can celebrate with champagne if you drink. If you don't, you apple juice. It's not about fixing anybody. It really isn't, because none of us are broken. It's just about finding you. Who is the true you? We've talked a lot about that today. Who is the true you deep inside? And what are you waiting for? Right? It's about that alignment. I don't like hustle at all. I'm not the one that wants to sit at home 24/7, having to post 95 times a day and hustle to try and get to where I am. And when I released that this year, I released the hustle of what I had been doing the previous year. Guess what? People are showing up in my network and signing up for this. I had a lot of people sign up for this that I have never even met before. And it's because I stepped away from that push and just aligned with what I wanted to offer. And so I'm being introduced to all sorts of new people all of a sudden just because of that one shift. And I want you to experience things like that as well. And we talked about the feminine power. Our feminine energy is what's leading us today. And the universe, this world, needs our feminine energy.
Yeah.
It really does right now. And we're being called forward. And that's exciting as well. We're creating that alignment amongst all of the women that are in middle age. And some of us might be a little bit considered older than middle age. And I'm okay with that. See, I'm growing my hair out. I'm going silver. And
Cool.
I got to tell you a story about that, though, because I tried to do it about 10 years ago. And I had longer hair. And my hair is naturally dark. And I came out of the hairdresser after paying her over $300 with blonde hair. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I've never been blonde my whole life. But that's what she was transitioning me through. So I'm like, okay, I went back to my dark hair and now I'm just growing it out because I'm ready to just be true to me. And I think it's going to be awesome. That's just a little side thing about my hair. So it's not about becoming someone new. It's not about being a new person. It's really tapping back into who you've always been deep inside. We've worn so many different jackets, like we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
And it's time to take off those jackets, just like MC did. She took off every jacket
Yeah.
and
Wow.
just
Incredible.
exposed herself to who she truly was as a human being.
So
Not
is
as
that one of the things you've written about? Is your experience of the 6 months?
Yeah, so it just chronicles my journey from when I discovered that I was a healer. My hustle was having to accept myself as a
Okay.
healer. I really struggled with a lot of shame and
Yeah.
just having to try that and just
Wow.
realizing where this shame um, was on. I describe it as a decolonial offering because
Right.
then I realized some of these issues that I had stemmed from colonialism. I explore issues of collective consciousness, the morphogenetic field, and how everything is just energy. And if it's not transformed, it just stays there and it just goes through generations and generations and
Yeah.
generations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
what's the name of your book so that if Mary or anybody else would like to get a copy?
It's called Between Worlds. Oh, I'm still looking for a publisher. So Linda Joy connected me with a few publishers. Challenge is the exchange rate. So the dollar to the rand is 1 to 20. So it becomes a tad bit pricey. So I'm still in the stages of finding a publisher, but the manuscript is done. I did the self-editing. I guess maybe another eye wouldn't hurt to have another eye. Yeah. And from that, I have also created a kiddie's book. I share an experience about love. So it took my mother 24 hours to die. And a week after burying her, I couldn't understand how anybody who is not sick just dies. And so in a moment of anguish, I said to her, I just said in the bedroom, I want to be where you're at. Please come and get me. And I went to sleep. And my mother did come. And she held me and cradled me throughout the night. And I felt love like I'd never experienced in my life. And that's when the shift came for me to say, ancestors are always demonized. That was not, I didn't experience anything demonic. I experienced love. And I said, this love was not held back by an empty body that did not have a soul. It was not stopped by death. She came through the veil or came through wherever it was where she was and came to me. And she came every day for 30 days, giving me love that I needed to sustain me up until today. And I said, that cannot be demonic. And so I explored those, but then created into a kiddie's book to say love is what connects us throughout time, throughout the continents, throughout, we're just held by love. And I just show the journey of this little girl who goes through the world seeing threads of love. So this I've called Threads of Love, and it's for children, but also for us because we still have an inner child to say love is what anchors us.
Beautiful. Did you see her passion, Mary?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It brought me to tears.
Oh.
It's like, because it's so, I mean, that's why I love working with children so much, is that every ounce of their body is, it's just pure love and excitement and joy. And like, I miss being around children and just having a conversation with them or playing with them or, going out to see my grandkids. It was good, but, I don't even know how to explain it. I didn't get to really just be with them because their parents are around all the time. And so,
Yeah.
not the same as when grandma from down the street came and he's like, I'm going to go, grandma. And so he leaves the grandma to go walk down the street. Then we went back. We were getting ready to leave. So we got everything ready into the car. And she had given him, I don't know, some kind of a little treat or something because grandma was going to be heading to work or whatever she was going to do. But we were picking him up and going to a museum or whatever. And that's great. Going to a museum or going to, what else did we do? Went to Caterpillar Museum and we went to um, something else because he likes tractors and so forth. But just playing, being playful and being in the park for something is not what we had an opportunity to do. So seeing that excitement about grandma, I'm going to go grandma, and then walk down the street to grandma's house. And then come out with this little treat. I'm like, those are the things that I don't, with this family, will not have an opportunity to do. They're many miles away. So, yeah, I miss children just kind of hanging out,
Yeah.
talking about the ants on the
Innocence of
ground.
children. The innocence of children.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as far as a publisher, and I don't know why the name just has escaped me. That there's a way that I can contact you and send you. I'm just thinking of someone that I met on LinkedIn.
Publisher.
Unbroken Optimist, author of Unbroken Optimist. And he's originally from Africa, but started his own publishing company. And his daughter actually helped his daughter publish her first book because she's 12.
Oh,
It's pretty exciting.
Sally's got my contacts. I don't know how to reach her. It's through Sally.
Yep. Mary, I can connect you and MC
Okay.
on LinkedIn.
Okay, that would be great.
No problem.
That'd be great.
I want you to imagine now, ladies, waking up 6 weeks from now. And you trust yourself again. You know who you truly are. You're making decisions that make you feel good, Mary. Right? That make you feel good. Not based off of guilt, though.
Mhm.
Right? That truly light you up. Because we built the boundaries. We're going to set the boundaries about who we are, what we are, and what we need to do. We're going to build that confidence, that momentum, and you'll be surrounded by so many people, just like those of us that have been here in the last 2 days. And how incredible would that feel 6 weeks from now? Not 6 months from now, not 6 years from now, but 6 weeks from now. So the 3 pillars we've talked about before: rediscovering you, the soulful strategy, the aligned next step. I'm just going to move this because it's time to get back to you. And I'd love to walk with each of you. So registration is open. If you're wanting the link or you want to get the QR code, or if you want to just have a call with me, you can have that on here. I just want you to ask yourself that last question. What's one thing your soul is ready to say yes to? So think about that. Ruminate on that. And then do some journaling in the book that you have, your companion, your journal companion. Because your soul is ready to say yes to something. You've just told it it's not the right time, or it's not for me. But I know it is. So I want to thank you for coming this last 2 days, ladies, and for sharing in this experience. And I hope that you've got some value from it. And I would love to, if you're coming, or if you would like to share this with somebody else as far as them wanting to join in something like this, if you know of anybody, then please let me know. It's easy for me to be able to share some links with you or for them. And I would be honored to be able to work with any of you.
Right.
My
It's great.
pleasure.
It's nice seeing you again today, MC.
Oh, it is nice to
Yes.
see everybody.
Yeah. Likewise.
So you have a fabulous weekend. Enjoy. It's almost a weekend here. We got one more day,
Yep,
but it's a long, is it a long weekend in
Um,
this? We have a Victoria Day weekend, so it's a long weekend for us this weekend.
Oh, oh,
and
it's
our
this
sun
weekend.
just came out here as we're finishing, so it's nice.
We won. Yeah, ours isn't until the next weekend.
Okay, next weekend? Perfect. Good for me to know. Is it the Monday or the Friday?
The Monday, the 26th.
Because ours is the Monday this week.
Yeah.
So,
So
20
school
seconds
is
the
off.
deadline to get your deals if you want to get a deal. But reach out to me if you have any questions whatsoever. You both know how to find me on LinkedIn or just on email or anything like that. I'm available. So I would really thank you both for showing up today. It's been an absolute pleasure for me, and I hope that you did get some insights that you're going to be
And
able
did.
to
This is wonderful.
move forward with. Have
It's
a
always
fat
fun to
day.
work with you.
Oh. Okay, take care.
Thank you.
Yeah. Great weekend. Bye bye.
Bye.
Can't see that.